Hello, welcome to your new favorite Bookish podcast, Fully Booked and Caffeinated. I'm Kelsey.
I'm Heather.
And today we have our monthly bonus episode, Bookish Banter, where we discuss the other books we've been reading this past month and whether we recommend them, and also our other favorite pop culture obsessions. This is August's recap. Unfortunately, beach days are coming to an end, but spooky season is beginning, and crisp fall weather, apple cider, pumpkin-smelling things, cozy sweaters. It's all around the corner.
Spooky season is upon us. Spooky season is when we both thrive.
Sure is.
I'm ready for the rising of spooky season.
I love that. We're going to call the corners after this. So
yes.
Let's talk about coffee. What are you drinking / did you drink today?
This morning, what did I get this morning? I can't even remember. Oh, this morning I got an iced latte from Dunkin' this morning because I was craving it. But they have this new drink. I don't know if you saw. It's like the Dunkin' latte. I haven't tried it yet. So for the dairy option, it's called coffee milk. I don't know what that is. But when I pulled up to the drive-thru this morning, they had the logo for the Dunkin' latte, and it's apparently the equivalent. It's supposed to taste like a coffee milkshake, but not in milkshake consistency.
Okay.
So I'm going to try it. I might try it tomorrow.
Is coffee milk like cereal milk?
I don't know.
Like when you put coffee
100.
ice cubes in a milk and then make it taste like coffee milk?
Because it's a latte, so it is espresso, not coffee. So it's espresso in there.
So espresso and coffee milk.
Yeah, so a Dunkin' latte is what they're calling it.
I mean, coffee milk sounds gross, but probably isn't gross. I don't know. You're going to need to try it and report back.
I will. Anyways.
I'm so intrigued.
I just wanted to discuss that because that was
Dunkin' latte.
Interesting.
Remember when they had the Dunkachino that was like cappuccino? What was it mixed with? Hot chocolate?
I think so.
That was pretty delicious.
Yeah.
Okay. They just like making new names and stuff. That's fine. Okay. Anywho, actually had something new today. So the place where I'm staying has a Keurig. I don't know how to use a Keurig apparently because it's
been so long.
It's use been an espresso
now.
Yeah, and it's one of the thin, like little ones.
And it just makes one cup?
Yeah.
That's what I have.
And so there's no button. There used to be a button for like what size you do it.
You just pour the water in.
Well, so I pour the water in and then I hit the button and then it makes a lot of noise and then the water is just gone.
Huh?
But it doesn't brew any coffee.
It does eventually.
I've been putting more water in and then brewing it again.
No.
And then it overflows my coffee cup.
No, all you do is you put the water in, you press the button, you let it do its thing, walk away for 3 to 5 minutes, and then come back.
Okay.
It takes a little bit of time.
Okay.
It's not...
All right, I can be patient. I just didn't want to break it.
Yeah, so literally you just fill it up with water, put the little pod in, press the button, and then it sucks all the water in. And then it brews it.
Okay, so I was stopping the process.
You were stopping the process and also overflowing the machine.
Listen, technology is hard in all aspects. But anyway, that's not the point. I'm going to try that tomorrow. But I did eventually make my overflowing coffee. And I got this coffee creamer. It's oat creamer. Does that just mean it's oat milk? I don't know. It's oat creamer, and the flavor is oatmeal cookie.
Well, that sounds really good.
It's so good. I got it from Aldi. Oh, I love it.
There also, a friend of mine shared this, and I need it. ShopRite has it, I saw. It's Starbucks sugar cookie flavor, but oat milk creamer.
Ooh.
So I want to get that. So I think that I'm also going to buy that.
Yeah, oat milk is definitely my favorite milk substitute.
Me too. I love oat milk.
Yeah, so this is great with my little hazelnut pods, which hopefully tomorrow
you'll be able to figure out how to use it.
Do correctly. Listen.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
Anywho, what are we doing? Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so you actually have a lot of reads
I
from
don't
this
know.
past month.
This is what happens to us. We're never on the same wavelength. It happens rarely that we're on the same. This time I had more books than you, which don't really know if that's happened. Maybe
once or twice.
I think like maybe once. But yeah. So I had more books than you this month.
Don't humble brag at me.
I'm going to humble brag because this doesn't ever happen.
All right, so the question is, were they good books?
Actually, yeah, I had a pretty decent month. I had one that I finished from July. I had finished after we re-recorded our episode, which was Play Along by Liz Tomford, which was the 4th book in the Windy City series, the sports book series that I've been reading. 5 stars.
Okay.
I just love Liz Tomford. Writes such good romance novels, and she writes men amazingly, as always. So highly recommend. So that was like a 5-star for July. Probably would have been my top read if we had done it correctly. For August, I read Wildfire by Hannah Grace, which is another series. This one is the Maple Hills series. I listened to the first book, Icebreaker, which is the one that I didn't like on audio because it was very steamy, and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay.
So this was and I didn't love that one, and so this is the second one. This one wasn't bad. I gave it 3.5 stars. So it wasn't not amazing. It was very much her writing style is a little bit more juvenile compared to like other romance novels that I read. So, but it was still cute. I enjoyed it. And then I read If Something Happens to Me by Alex Finlay. This was my first Alex Finlay book. I didn't love it. I gave this one 3 stars because it was weird. And I had to finish it because was reading it on the Libby app. And it was like, I was trying to re-up my loan because I was like, I'm not going to finish this. And it was like, you can't do that. And I was like, well, I need to freaking finish this book. I can't just stop mid-book. So I pushed myself through, and it was just not good. It wasn't great. It just wasn't that great. But I know that he's written novels that are good. This was just the first one, and that I've read by him, and it was whatever. And then I read 2 Lauren Asher books. She's another romance author. I read her Dreamland Billionaire series last year. So this is kind of a spin-off of that series, but this one is like the little town that they live in. So it was Love Redesigned. I gave that one 4 stars. And Love Unwritten, and I gave that one 5 stars because that one was really good. So they're just typical romance. The first one is lovers. Well, obviously they're all lovers. I'm sorry. The first one is like friends to lovers. And then the second one is my favorite trope, I think, which is single dad / nanny.
Yes, you have said that before. Okay.
And just Rafael Lopez, who's the main dude in the second book, is just amazing. Women that write good men, it gets me every time. And then I finally finished All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. I'm very happy I pushed through. I was very indecisive about this book. And because it took me forever, I did give it 4.5 because it took me a while to get into it. But this was really, really good. And she really is, I think, one of my top thriller authors because this was great. And there was actually a really good mom quote in there. And it was interesting because I read her acknowledgement in the back, and she had said, I'm not a mom yet. So it was kind of, I had to talk to like friends that were moms, and I don't know how well I wrote this from like a mom's perspective. And I think she did really good. So
that's so weird that she's not a mom, and that was the entire point
Mm-hmm.
of that book. But
Yeah.
it didn't read like she wasn't a mom. I mean, I'm not a mom either, but you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it read
No,
like
it was really good. And she really hit a lot of, I think, the anxieties that moms have too. So that
Mhm.
was good. And my favorite book of the month, which took me forever because it was a 17-hour audiobook and I only
Crazy.
listen to it when I drive, was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I highly recommend this book. Like
Okay.
I did the audio. This was kind of similar to me with All the Dangerous Things, where I was unsure about it in the beginning. It kind of had a slow start, I think, because it kind of had to build up the story.
Mhm.
But it takes place in like there's like parts. So it's like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. But this was just so well written. I remember I read someone's review and they said it was pure magic, and it really was. It's just,
Wow.
yeah, it's just a really cool concept. And I guess it almost falls in the realm of fantasy, but not entirely. It's definitely more like just like a contemporary fiction, but with like kind of like magical realism in a sense. And it's more or less the concept of the story is what happens like when you make a deal with the devil, but the devil is like a god, but it's like a bad god. So
Oh.
yeah, but really good.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really good. So I recommend it. So that was my best read. And then I did have a DNF. I didn't want to push through it. I was shockingly had a DNF from Kristen Hanna. I know. I started Distant Shores and I got 2 chapters in and I was like, no, thank you.
2 chapters in.
Yeah. So this is like one of her first, it seems like one of her earlier books. And it wasn't historical fiction. It was like contemporary fiction, but it just had such a juvenile tone. And it was, I couldn't get into it. And I even like reading a lot of the reviews, people were saying the same thing. And it was kind of a cheesy storyline. And I just reading her newer stuff and knowing what she's capable of,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to waste my time reading something that I knew wasn't going to compare to what else I've read by her. So I returned it on my Libby app. I was like, just kidding, I don't want to read this. And I didn't push through because there's so many books and I have so many holds. Well, you can only have 8 holds on Libby, which I guess is good because if I tried to add more,
I didn't even know you could only have 8.
Yeah, you can have 8 because I just kept adding, and
I've
it was
never
like, oh, your
to
holds are at capacity, and I was like, oh, and then they keep telling me I have books ready. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for it, so I keep like shoving it. I'm like,
delaying
wait.
Well, I do have 3 library cards on my Libby app. So I have 3 different libraries to get books from.
That's probably also why you probably could have more than 8 holds because probably per library card.
Well, I've just never gotten up to 8 because I would be too overwhelmed if I looked. And
also
I saw
true.
8. I usually have like 4 max. Okay. All right. So pretty good
romances, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think romances were the biggest thing that I read this month, but they were all good. You know, Alex Finlay was kind of disappointing. I'll read other books. I know he had one that everyone loved.
The Night Shift, I think.
Yeah. And was that?
I don't know.
Okay. But I know that.
I'm not sure.
I know that people like him. So I was looking forward to this book. And it also had like an interesting concept, but it just fell flat for me.
It's funny that you say that because I also read my first Alex Finlay book.
You hadn't read him before?
I have The Night Shift and maybe one other one.
Oh, okay. So you just haven't. I didn't know that this was your first time reading him.
Yeah. So I read What Have We Done? I didn't like it. The thriller part was kind of boring, and a lot of the dramatic scenes were just so over the top and so unrealistic.
That was kind of what If Something Happens to Me was like. And it was told in so many different POVs that didn't make sense. Like
I was like, I don't care about any of these people. And it wasn't even, so 2 of the main characters were men, so it wasn't like, this is a man writing women. No, it was just, there was too many big scenes that were trying to make an impact, but they were just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hate it. It just wasn't, like, I would never recommend it, I don't think.
Got ya.
Because there's just so many good thrillers to read.
Yeah.
Why waste your time?
It's a mediocre.
Exactly. So, but I do want to read The Night Shift because that's the one I think that is.
Yeah, that is the one that everyone's talked about. So I also would definitely will still plan on giving that one a shot.
And then we can make a real assessment.
Is it like another Grady Hendrix or Alex Michaelides where we're just kind of like,
we're like, we'll try, not anymore. Probably. But, hashtag yes all men. Okay. Anyway, so also last month after we recorded, I read The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. This was so good. So Sally Hepworth, I talk about her all the time. She just does domestic thrillers that are always consistently good. None of them have been like, oh my God, this is the best book I've ever written, but they're always interesting and fun to read and whatever. This was so much more intense and involved than I was expecting based on the book summary. The book summary is like the first chapter. And then the book just goes off the rails, but in a good way. I don't know. I really, really liked it. I think this is actually my favorite Sally Hepworth book.
There you go.
So I was like, okay. And I thought it was going to be this chill beach read because the cover has this water breaking on a cliff. No, it is much darker, which, I like.
Good for
obviously.
you.
Yeah. I was like, wow, what a nice surprise. But anyway, yeah, so I really like that. Okay. So then I read The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. I had mixed feelings, but when I finished it, my first thought was that I really did like it. So I went with that. I think I only rated 4 stars because it took me a while to get through it. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of long family names. There's just a lot of extraneous details.
Okay.
But so, it's just tricky to read quickly. But it was definitely a creepy haunted house story. It was very similar to Mexican Gothic, which is what all of the promos for it say, which we enjoyed. We liked Mexican Gothic. So it definitely gave those same vibes and I liked it. I thought it was creepy and it had a sad ending, but it was still, Anyway, yeah, so I really like this one. But it's not like a quick beach read. It's not something that you're gonna, you have to really focus on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I listened to The Collective by Allison Galen. I thought this was going to be one of those badass revenge female vigilante thrillers because it's about this cult of, no spoilers, of women who their children have died or been murdered or whatever, and they feel that justice hasn't been served. So they start this little cult group. And so I was like, oh, these moms are going to start taking justice into their own hands.
Yeah.
And they do. But it's actually just really sad.
I actually do want to read that. I've had that one on my TBR for a long time.
It's very heartbreaking.
I think that I heard that. I remember someone writing a review about it being hard.
I was like, where's the lightheartedness? To break this up. And it was just fucked up. But
it was a book of the month choice forever ago.
Yes, I saw that. I did like the writing style and I wanted to see what happened next. So I was into it.
It just wasn't what you were expecting.
Exactly. And the ending was just it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. And afterwards I was just like, damn, I'm kind of depressed. You know what I mean?
No.
But I wouldn't not recommend it.
Yeah.
It's just,
don't go into it thinking it's going to be
fun.
Fun.
Because it's not.
It's the opposite of fun.
It's quite the opposite. So then the last book I listened to was Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman. This is another creepy haunted house story. It's told from the POV of an 8-year-old girl. And the audiobook is told in a child's voice.
You liked it though, didn't you?
I loved it. Of course, a child's voice makes it even creepier and scarier and just, oh my gosh. And also the audiobook was just so good.
That's
because there was inflections in all the right places and there was like the The pacing sped up and it really added to the story. I don't think I would have liked this as much if I had read it. It would also be a really good movie, but scary movies with children are terrifying. So yeah, I would definitely recommend listening to this one, but it is scary.
Which is what you like. And
yes.
You've been feeling like your horror books have been disappointing as of late.
Yeah. So, and that's funny because this was definitely a simple horror story,
but
because it was
sometimes that's all you need, though.
Exactly.
Because I feel like a lot of the times these authors try to do the most in their books to the point where it's too much and it's not enjoyable. So realistically, sometimes the simpler storyline is more successful.
I agree. I think that sometimes the story gets lost if they're trying too hard.
Yes.
But also, since this was told from the POV of an 8-year-old, it had to be more simple and it had to be from her perspective. So
yeah,
I really liked that part too. So yeah, I would say that one is probably my favorite of the month. It still wasn't 5 stars for me, but you usually have a lot more to choose from. This isn't a lot of books. I am like 75% through the book I'm reading right now. So I'll talk about that next month. But
same, actually. One of the ones that I'm reading, I'll probably finish before August is over.
Yeah.
Hypothetically. But still, it wouldn't be a top for me, so it's fine.
Yeah, and then this weekend I plan on sitting by the pool and reading for 3 days straight.
Wonderful.
All right, so let's talk about upcoming releases. I know we both have a couple for September. So what are you looking forward to?
An author that I really like, Sally Rooney, has a new book coming out. I didn't love her last one, but I loved Normal People and Conversations with Friends. So she has a new book coming out called Intermezzo, which was about, if I remember correctly, it has to do with grief. I know, like, it has to do with a family, I think siblings grieving another sibling. So it's going to be sad, but her books are always sad. She's she's definitely the definition of a melancholy author. Like her stories are very much, you feel a lot when you read her books. Elsie Silver, who is a romance author, she writes the cowboy books that I liked. She came out with a new series. I read Wild Love. I think that was last month. So the second book in this series, Wild Eyes, comes out. It's not single dad / nanny, but it is a single dad / something. So I'm still very interested.
Okay. All right.
And everyone's been posting about it. The people who got like arcs and all over Bookstagram, and it seems to be really well received.
Okay. So that's a good sign.
Everyone really likes it. So I'm looking forward to it. And then my third one that I'm looking forward to is actually my book of the month choice. I chose Mad Woman by Kelsey Biker. I don't know how to
saw
pronounce
that
name.
One. That looks good.
The premise, I was like, I'm going to get this. And then after I had chosen it, I saw a bunch of art. Like, this is a anticipated read for people.
Okay.
Like, so I think this maybe could be her debut. Not sure. I don't remember ever seeing her name before. But it sounds really interesting. So I'm excited to read it eventually. It'll just go in my book cart, but I'll get to it eventually.
Of course. Yeah. That's funny though, because I was choosing between that one and the one that I obviously picked, Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert, because they don't have a horror book every month on Book of the Month.
They don't.
And I was like, if there's a horror book,
you gotta get it.
I gotta read it. So I'm looking forward to that one for September. Also looking for whatever I can't edit out. Sorry to the listeners. My dogs are running amok.
And you're in a rental, so it's not like you're in a position where you can lock yourself.
I can't really close them anywhere because they'll dig their way through the doors. Anywho.
It happens. Not every episode's going to be perfect.
It's true. And we all know that Bookish Banters are unhinged.
They're always unhinged.
Yeah. So anywho, I'm looking forward to So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison.
Yes.
We talked about this a little bit on our Cackle episode. That's her new book coming out next month. And it looks good. And I'm excited to read her other ones. Cackle, I liked. I didn't love. Black Sheep, I really, really liked. And I have another one of hers, Hold with Libby. I don't remember which one it is. And then the last one is The Third Gilmore Girl, a memoir by Kelly Bishop.
I saw that.
I was like, wow, I actually want to read this because I love her.
I know, me too. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, so I was excited that that's coming out and that she just called it The Third Gilmore Girl. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a little book news this month. It's book/pop culture news.
Yeah.
So unless you've been living under a rock, you have to have seen the controversy surrounding Blake Lively right now. At the very least, you've seen her online wearing some truly gorgeous floral outfits.
Yes.
Her promotional outfits for It Ends With Us are incredible.
They are.
Which may have been on purpose to balance out her wardrobe from the movie.
That's a good point.
Who am I to say? So, anywho, Blake has come under fire recently because her promotion of It Ends With Us has been questionable at best. So, for anyone who doesn't know, It Ends With Us is based on the book of the same name by Colleen Hoover. And despite being depicted as a love story, because Colleen Hoover is a romance writer, it is a story about domestic violence.
It is.
So, there are some truly cringy clips of Blake Lively, where she says, this is not a direct quote, but it's so painful. She says, It Ends With Us is in theaters. Grab your girlfriends, wear your florals, and go see this movie. No. Also, some deflection when an interviewer asked her about how to communicate with fans who have been victims of domestic violence. She just had a very snarky response that she obviously wasn't taking it seriously. And I did see some interview clips where she defends this, saying that she doesn't want her character to be defined as only a victim or only a survivor because what someone did to you or what you went through doesn't define you. And I get that sentiment, but victims of domestic violence, that is a big part of their life, and that is something that changed them and affected them. And this is something that you depict in your character in the movie, not in your interviews.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What makes this even more notable is that Justin Baldoni, who is the director and the male lead, has been very focused on the message. He hasn't been promoting the movie with the other cast members, and all promotion that he has done has a very strong focus on spreading awareness and acknowledging this very big responsibility that these actors have. I mean, people have congratulated him and he's like, this is not about me. This is about women that we made this movie for. This is about, you know, the feelings that I had when I read this book and how it resounded with me and all this stuff. And there are a zillion interviews. You can hop right on TikTok and just see the differences in tone between two while being interviewed. And it is very stark contrast. Also, there's some other division between Justin and Blake, which were mostly creative and directorial differences from what we can gather. So it's just adding fuel to this kind of comparison fire. But Colleen Hoover, Blake Lively, and the other main cast members did unfollow Justin Baldoni on social media. So it is making a big statement.
It is. And it's unfortunate that the majority of them have this stance about, like, the whole theme of the book. Like, I feel Justin Baldoni's stance is the correct one, and the other cast isn't. And it's just upsetting because I love Blake Lively, and so it's unfortunate that this is kind of how she's approaching the movie. And I also don't think it's appropriate that they don't have any disclaimer.
Yeah, movie. I was going to say that this movie does not have a trigger warning, and just from watching the promos, you would 100% think that this is just a love story. So
Yeah, 'cause
it's very irresponsible.
The promos don't even do a good job of trying to show so. Because I saw a TikToker or someone I had followed on Instagram, and they hadn't read the book, had no idea what the movie was about, just wanted to go see it because they thought it was like a rom-com. And they said there was no trigger warning in the beginning of the film, and then once it got to like the domestic violence portions of the film, they were severely triggered because they didn't know what was coming.
Yeah, because even in the previews, it just looks like they had some type of bad breakup or something. So it's just very irresponsible. The other cast members, like you said, it's very disappointing because they've come to Blake's defense and basically asked fans to back off, but no one is directly calling out how she could have handled things differently or better. Everyone is just coming to her defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand coming to her defense and saying, you know, stop bullying her, but that doesn't mean that what she's doing is okay.
No, and the only reason why she's getting away with it is because she's married to Ryan Reynolds.
Well, I think Blake Lively's more famous than Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, but I think that Ryan Reynolds' career is better than Blake Lively's because he has the Deadpool. He owns the soccer team with the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, but I know like Blake Lively obviously has her own stuff too, and she's BFFs with Taylor Swift.
That's what I was going to say. Like, regardless, she's...
But I feel like
she's in a prime position. Nothing bad is going to happen to her.
I think, not even that Ryan Reynolds is more famous. Everyone just fucking loves Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like, he's the gem of America.
Mm-hmm.
And he's Canadian. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's just... So I think that... And I kind of feel like she's not getting as much backlash as she should be getting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one big issue with this whole thing is, number one, I think a lot of the criticism is from people who haven't read the book or who want to criticize
Mm-hmm.
Colleen Hoover as a writer and her success in general. But number two, and more importantly, Colleen Hoover also had a ridiculously flippant attitude towards the book. We talked on this podcast about the backlash for the coloring book that was released.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be honest, the fact that Blake is going with the same narrative doesn't surprise me that much. And I saw a lot of people saying, you know, Colleen Hoover is not equipped to write a story about themes like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they didn't even do their due diligence and speak with, you know, survivors of domestic violence and all these things. Like, I mean, can we get someone in your publicity agent to tell you like what to say and what not to say? I feel like Blake is just like, I am my own publicity, like leave me alone.
No, literally 100%.
And then a lot of people online are also speculating that it's possible she's acting this way and deflecting because she's been a victim of domestic violence before.
Okay.
Which is a very big claim to make.
Yeah,
and sometimes we don't need to know every single detail about a celebrity's life.
No.
Sometimes you could just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So yeah, up to this point, no one from the cast has confirmed this big feud with Justin. Blake has yet to apologize or acknowledge her insensitivity as far as I'm aware. And if you or someone you know has been a victim of domestic violence, be careful consuming this book and the movie because it is very triggering and is very upsetting the way that it is covered and handled. That being said, if you enjoyed the book, enjoyed is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. The movie, I liked it.
Yeah, I've been hearing people enjoy the movie. I know there's so much backlash surrounding the movie, but from what I've heard, people have really enjoyed the movie.
And especially with the casting, you know, everyone was so surprised when Blake Lively got cast because they expected it to be someone younger and all this stuff. But I mean, she's an incredible actress, and bad at promotions or not, she's incredible at acting. And I think that because playing this kind of character is such a complex role, you need someone who's very experienced. So I do think the casting was right. I think
that's good.
She fucked up now. But like I said, her outfits in this promotion just... And you know, I'm not really into girly florals, but
no,
she's killing it.
She wore like that Britney Spears dress.
Oh, and then the braid with the flowers in it. I was like, girl, wow, Katniss like just running through the flower fields. Anyway, so yeah, That's that.
That's that.
That's that. That's a lot of that. If you want to dive more into it, look it up on TikTok. There's so much. I mean, there's a lot of very opinionated people, like I said, throwing out some crazy claims. But the point is, it's a shit show. And some people are like, is this all just a PR stunt? And I'm like, you can't ever rule that out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on, away from books, what other pop culture were you into this month? TV, movies, podcasts? Ignore that noise in the background. The dogs are fighting over a bed.
There
a
we
dog
go.
bed.
Dominance. Big Brother. I've been watching that. I'm actually pretty invested in this season, and that's because of Tucker. And even though Tucker is unhinged, and I wouldn't be friends with him outside of the house, I do enjoy how he's playing the game. It feels like very old school.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
hate him.
No, he's not literally like
the deepest fibers of my being. I hate him. I agree that it is. I didn't think about that until you just said it. It definitely is more old school.
It's old school, and I think that's why. And he's not just because I feel like the past few seasons, it's just been conforming with, oh, we'll just all vote somebody out. Mm-hmm. Whereas he's kind of...
And more like passive aggressive, where he's just outwardly aggressive. The thing that I don't like is that he is such a bad winner.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Every time he wins, he's just disgusting about it.
I don't like him as a human being, but I'm enjoying how he's fucking up this house.
Well, think about how boring it would be if he wasn't there.
That's also, what I'm saying.
Angela. Bruh.
Did you watch last night's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angela cries every single episode. I have yet to see a drop of water come out of this woman's eyes. She has not had a real cry. She's got crocodile tears every single episode.
And she's just so paranoid.
She's a lunatic. I mean, I wish that she... Did you hear this?
Yeah.
How do people have children? What was I saying? Oh, I wish that she would get some power, because powerful Angela is even funnier.
I know.
Also, it was kind of fucked up that they ate her charcuterie stuff.
I know. I was so mad.
I would have been swinging. Like, that was a lot of charcuterie stuff.
I know.
Wow, I don't think it was going to go bad. I think it was fine.
No. It takes forever. If it's unopened, stuff takes forever. It's those cured meat.
Exactly. Yeah. Cured meats and cheeses that aren't even refrigerated. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Love is Blind UK, which was a typical Love is Blind season.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a crazy amount of drama. I think the normal amount of drama. Reunion was kind of boring, but I'm excited that they're going to have a second season. We discussed that Freddie is the best part of the show. Oh. And he deserves everything.
I love Freddie so much. And a funeral home director, are you kidding me? I was like, wow, you have my dream job. Although when I saw him with his shirt off, it kind of knocked some points off for me. I was like, okay, you are too attractive.
Yeah, I know.
You are too hot. You know?
I know. That's what everyone says.
I'm like, wow, this is making me uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it felt like a first season, like a little bit of drama. Some of the drama was definitely forced, but it didn't feel fake, you know? And then we obviously had the Love Island US reunion, which we were so patiently waiting for.
I forgot to write that down because it was just dumb.
It was trash. And everyone online is just as pissed as we are.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have that good of a season, have the most boring reunion? No one got called out. No one got grilled. We had to watch a 20-minute bonfire scene. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who sent Andrea home?
Yeah, it was so disappointing.
And it was like Ariana wasn't even there. Like, she was not hosting. She was just chilling, looking around. Yeah. So disappointing. But I can't believe that a lot of them are together officially.
I know. We'll see what happens. I mean, but you gotta look at it because Hannah and Marcus, was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Are still together from last season.
Marco.
And I wasn't expecting him to like be in this committed relationship.
Younger.
And they're thriving. They're doing so good. So I mean, I feel like Love Island is a good experiment for people. And it's because it is similar to The Bachelor and Bachelorette, except for this, they're with the same person every single day. And so I can understand why they say how like a week in there is equivalent to like a year on the outside.
But I also see how a lot of it doesn't work out, because when you're in the villa and everything is happening, either something bad happens and you forgive the person, you decide to work through it, and you know, you decide that you're going to forgive them, then you have to rewatch it and you have to see what everyone online is saying about it, and you have to feel stupid for forgiving this person. Or in some cases, you don't even know what happened until you watch it back, and then you have to be like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know you were doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I get why a lot of people are so strong, and then they come out and they're like, oh, you're not who I thought you were at all.
Yeah.
And then The Bachelorette, we've been watching. Have you been watching?
Yeah, it's so boring. I had it on. I didn't watch the Men Tell All yet, but I saw the clips and I saw Jen coming for Sam M, which
yes.
But I had the overnight episode on, and I couldn't even tell you what happened. Like, I wasn't even watching. I just had it on. Like, it's just
so boring.
The season, they just keep doing these bachelorettes dirty, and it's so unfortunate.
Not good, guys. Such short seasons. I mean, I haven't even been watching it. I've just been listening to the recaps. I probably will watch Men Tell All. No, I won't. I'm going to listen to the recap. Anyway, but it just seems...
Yeah, no, this season is very boring, which is so unfortunate,
and
because
all this stuff is coming out about all these men, as usual.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And it's like the first, Asian American that's finally a bachelorette, and they just gave her.
And we didn't even really get to know her onOwie's season, but I love her. She's
Me too. No,
fun. She's adorable.
She's really
relatable.
Funny on social media.
And it's like, we still don't even get the chance to get to know her, and they're just doing her so dirty. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah. I started The Mole season 2. So good. I can't wait to finish it.
So different, like you said. Yeah. Even just the whole way they edited it and shot it, it's just so... It feels more like a spy movie.
It does.
Whereas the other one actually felt like a reality show. You know what I mean? Like a Survivor type thing or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying this season. So next time I'm on here, I'll tell you what I thought about the ending. And then I'd watched that 3-part Lacey Peterson doc on Netflix, and that was really good.
Okay. So I didn't watch it, but do you think Scott Peterson did it?
Yeah, of course he did.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I watched this other documentary of people who believe that he's innocent, so obviously it made him look innocent. You know what I mean? Regardless, I think he did it. They have the zoomies. I think that he did it, but I don't think that they had enough evidence to convict him.
No, I don't think they did either.
Yeah. So I think he did it, but that's not the way the justice system works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do think it was suspicious that he had all that money in his car and everything, that he was ready to flee to Mexico.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the search histories. Come on. People.
Yeah, so there's just a lot, but I highly recommend it, because I didn't really know too much about the case, if I was honest. Like, I didn't know the details, and I felt like this documentary was very well done.
Okay.
And
I have to watch it, because I was obsessed when it happened.
Yeah, so it's only 3 episodes, and I recommend it.
All right,
it was
cool.
really good. But,
all right,
yeah.
I didn't watch any documentaries this month. I've been binging Vanderpump Rules. That's my trashy reality obsession that has replaced Love Island. I just started season 8, so I'm doing pretty good.
You are. You're flying through.
Yeah, I really am. And it's a shit show. It's wonderful. I can't wait to get to Scandival. Obviously, I know what happens, but I need to see it firsthand. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, the Olympics were this past month?
Yeah, I don't
know. Which does not feel like it was this past month.
It doesn't, and I couldn't even tell you what happened.
I mean, other than Simone Biles is the best. Snoop Dogg was absolutely incredible. Please have this man at the Olympics every year. Did you watch where he was commentating that badminton match? Bro, you gotta look it up on TikTok. It's so funny. He's He's like, oh, it's over there. Oh, no, he don't want it. He don't want it. It's back over here. It's so funny. Oh my God, I love him.
I'll have to listen to that.
I keep thinking, like, imagine being Simone Biles and you look over and Snoop Dogg is wearing a shirt with your face on it.
No.
Like,
amazing.
Imagine.
Amazing.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so now we just have to wait 4 years again for that. Okay, what about podcasts? Did you listen to anything good this past month?
No, not really. I've just been listening to the recaps and Armchair Expert, but none of the episodes like stuck out to me.
Yeah, I have been listening to Love to See It, and then I listened to a bunch of interviews with the Love Island US cast when at the beginning of the month. So I listened to Vile Files with Kaylor, Call Her Daddy with Leo, which I know you listened to that one.
I did the Call Her Daddy. Yeah, I did that one.
Yeah, and then BFFs where Dave Portnoy just roasted Aaron mercilessly.
Oh.
And Portnoy hasn't even watched the show. He just watched like clips of it and got the gist of it. And he was like, wow, you're a horrible human being. Like, look at you. And he was like, Aaron is like smirking and he's like, look at this guy. He doesn't give a fuck. Look at him. It was incredible.
Maybe I'll have to find that one out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. At least watch some clips from it because, and Aaron is just sitting there with that dumbass look on his face. Like just nothing going on upstairs. But anyway, yeah, none of those were amazing. I was just hungry for more Love Island content when it ended. All right, so I don't think we have anything else.
No, I believe that about wraps up the month of August.
Wow. Listen, we're going to do... Kelsey's going to do better next month for reading. I'm going to go read right now.
Go do it right this second.
I'm going to read right this minute. I'm going to read 3 books this weekend. No, I'm not. But I'm going to read some. Can't promise I'm going to watch anything exciting because...
Well, Survivor starts.
Yeah. Survivor starts
in like 3 weeks.
The challenge started. But of course it's not on Paramount.
It's not, so I can't watch it.
I watched the first episode on YouTube TV. And it seems like it's going to be really good. But there's 40 people. So it's going to be a long one.
Mm-hmm.
Holly and Cara are back. And I hate when they're together.
I know.
Not my favorite. But yeah, so we'll see if we're actually able to watch that. Anywho, that's all we have for you this month. Once again, an unhinged episode. I promise that... Wait, let me check. I promise that my dogs didn't kill each other in the background, although it did sound like they were. If you like what you heard, or give us another chance, please make sure to follow, subscribe, and rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. If you have any book recommendations or questions for us, you can email us at fullybookedcalfpod@gmail.com. Also go and follow us on our socials to see our upcoming reads. We are on Instagram and TikTok at fullybookedcalfpod. We also have a lot of book recommendations. BIPOC authors will have some books for spooky season, different genres, so definitely go and check those out. Thanks for checking us out, and remember,
if you need us, we're fully booked.
Bye!